Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to my channel. So I recently went shopping for books as a reward for something I'm working on. And I may have gone a little bit over the top. Now, I do buy a lot of my books secondhand, so they are way more affordable. I may have bought 21 books. And I thought I'd show you what I got. If any of you have read them and have an opinion, some of them, I will admit, some of them I have read and I'm just replacing them because I don't have them anymore. Some of them are from, they're part of a series, and I just grabbed what I could because I wanted to start getting the series so I could read it. Probably not the best habit to go with, but it's something I've done for literally ages. But I thought I'd show you what I got, and if any of these strike your fancy, I can do a review on them if you'd like, or you can check them out yourself or whatever. We'll start with this pile over here. I literally have them piled in front of me. It's kind of funny. The first book is The Hunger Games, the first one. For those who don't know, although I'm pretty sure at this point this book has made its rounds because it's not new. It is by Suzanne Collins. I am hesitant to read this, but I'd still like to at least read the first one and decide whether I want to read more after that. My hesitancy in reading this is the fact that these are teens being put into guerrilla warfare, basically. I know there's a lot of political stuff going on, and that's what's giving me hope that maybe I'll actually like it more. But I have problems when you put kids into situations they shouldn't be in. Let's be real. Children have no place in something like that. If you want to entertain yourself, keep it within the adults. I thought I'd give it a chance, and if I end up liking it, I'll get the next one. We'll see. The next book is one that I had and I'm just replacing, and that is Ever After High, The Storybook of Legends by Shannon Hale. Yes, it's pretty much a kid's book. I like the Ever After High books. The cartoon they made, the dolls are adorable and I love them and I want to get them again. But I'm really just replacing this, and I will reread it because I remember liking it a lot. But this is basically the start of the cartoon. It's where they decide they're not gonna follow destiny. I really enjoyed it. The next four I'm gonna show at once, and there's a story behind this. That is the Twilight books. I didn't read them when they came out. I didn't watch the movie. Matter of fact, I kind of laughed along with a lot of the jokes because my vampires were Anne Rice and Lost Boys and yada yada. The reason I, one, grabbed the entire set, and two, will spitefully read these, is there is someone I know who, having not read the books, having really not watched the movie, will sit there and mock the movies, the books, and everything. Just, I've seen the things they watch. They're not much better. But because they're rude and obnoxious, I am going to read the entire Twilight, or, well, I guess technically there are more books now, but the first initial run of books. Whether I like them or not, I will read these in front of them because I'm spiteful like that. The next book is, honestly, the title was interesting, the cover was cool, and it seemed interesting. And it is The Book of Lies by Brad Meltzer. It does play into, yes, technically Christianity. The back starts with, in chapter 4 of the Bible, Cain kills Abel. It is the world's most famous murder. But the Bible is silent about one key detail: the weapon Cain used to kill his brother. The weapon is still lost to history. That was enough to get me hooked, because I love books that take religion and kind of weave it into the main story. This weapon obviously then shows up again, and things must be dealt with. Someone went on a killing rampage with Cain's weapon. Also, I love the little detail of having the snake as the S. Love that. So I actually think this is going to be interesting. I've never heard of Brad Meltzer, so I can't tell you anything about him. Oh, copyright 2008. So it came out in 2008, so it's actually a, in my opinion, moderately newer book. Considering you'll see that some of the books are not as new. So the next book I got is, I guess technically it falls under guilty pleasure reading, and it's The Reckless One by Connie Brockway. Yeah, it's a romance novel, and it involves Highlandmen. I always just said Highland. It's a Highlander book. This is interesting that they put the characters on the inside cover, though. Also, that is gorgeous. It's honestly, reading it, it's a pretty standard romance novel, and I just kind of like them. Also, apparently the last one, McCairn's Island, this is actually the second one as part of that set. I can't imagine it's actually going to matter, though. Most of these books are written to be standalone. The next book I picked up because a couple of people who I follow have mentioned this book, have read it, and I kind of wanted to see what they were talking about. So it's Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Sorry. It sounded interesting, and a lot of people were talking about it, and let's face it, sometimes you just gotta read what everyone's talking about. True, it was several months ago that they were talking about it, but hey, this is the first chance I've gotten to get books. The next book is Amber and Iron by Margaret Weis. This is a Dragonlance book. I've read several Dragonlance books. I love Dragonlance. I love Forgotten Realms. It is totally my thing. Honestly, I didn't even read the back cover when I saw it, because I was just like, oh, here's an author I like in a world I like. I'm gonna like this. It is technically the second volume in a series called The Dark Disciple. Do I know if you need to read that to read this? No, I absolutely do not. I'll probably look it up later. Technically speaking, I think much like the Drizzt books, while it helps to read all the books in order because there's going to be stuff you don't get, they do pretty much explain everything you need to know. And I will probably just read it out of order anyway, because that's how I am with these books. The next book is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This will be the third book from him that I have and will read. I found the concept interesting. I actually have the movie and never got around to watching it. I know, from what I understand, they changed quite a bit, but not going to start that war in the comments. I happen to think of movies as just retellings of the source material, so to me it doesn't matter if it matches up that much. I'm someone who reads retellings all the time. The movies changing things is not going to bother me. But I saw this there. I've have the movie. I know the basic concept, and I really like the concept. This one obviously is the reskin with the movie assets, and they actually put pictures from the movie inside, which is kind of cool. And who knows, maybe I'll actually go watch the movie after I finish reading this. Next, we have Jurassic Park by Michael, I'm gonna say his last name wrong, Crichton? Crichton? I'm not gonna lie. I love the movie. Actually, I kind of love all the movies, but I also am slightly obsessed with dinosaurs. But I really, really, when I found out that the movie was based on a book, I really wanted to read the book. And I just could never either afford it or find it in general. So when I saw it, I had to grab it. I don't know how much this is different from the movie. In some ways, I kind of hope it is a bit different, just in the sense that maybe it explores more than the movie did. Which I assume it is, because even... Oh god, when did that movie come out? Mm-hmm. Even then, they were still making changes to movies to make them more fast-paced. But I'm going to be intrigued to see what is different. And I actually kind of anticipate going through this pretty quickly in comparison to some of these other books. Just because I have a basic understanding of the things they're going to be talking about already. So it's going to be easier for me to understand what's being thrown at me. The next book is Whispering to Witches by Anna Dale. I am 90% certain this is a kid's book. Just because they do things like have nice font stuff, and that's... The kids on the back cover kind of imply that. So this actually has a very quick summary in the back that just immediately I was like, that seems like a lot of fun. When Joe gets off the train at the wrong stop, his magical adventures with the witches of Dead Nettle Coven begin. First off, love the name Dead Nettle Coven. Amazing name. Best name. 10 out of 10. My mom used to grow dead nettle in our yard way back when. And it was that immediate connection of, it seemed like it was going to be a fun little read. And so I grabbed it. So the next book I have is Leviathan by Scott Westerfeld. First off, can we all acknowledge this dust jacket is gorgeous? Like, I am actually, in fact, trying to hide the top of the book because the last owner had their name written on it. There's another one that has the name written on it that I'm not going to be able to hide, so I'm going to try and blur it, but we'll see what happens. Inside cover. Other inside cover. Like, I love when maps are involved. This was one of those books I was slightly hesitant to pick up just because of the time period it's set in. So it's set on the cusp of World War One and deals with it's the cusp of World War One steampunk. The steampunk part got to me. It deals with the prince of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, who happens to be on the run. And I get the distinct feeling it's kind of like, hey, let the prince become normal, and then let the common girl kind of teach him how everyone else, amidst war where they're trying to save a bunch of people. The Leviathan, based on the inside cover, yes, the Leviathan is a whale airship and the most masterful beast in the British fleet. I love everything about that. So the time period kind of made me stop and be like, do I really want to read that? But everything else about it seemed really interesting, and it's gorgeous looking, so I kind of had to get it. The next book is one I did own, and now I'm just replacing. And it's The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Originally, I had one book that had all 3 books in it, which was originally how Tolkien had intended his books to be put out. When he wrote it as one story, and his publisher basically forced him to split it into 3 books. I lost that book So this was there, and I wanted to replace it, and I've read it so many times that I can just jump into any of the 3 books where they are and just reread them. The next book is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and it is translated by Burton Raffel. I kind of love Arthurian legend. There are definitely parts of it that bother me, but at the same time, that's mostly because the whole point of the Arthurian legend was the new ways, new laws, and new religions overtaking the old ones. Your druids, your superstitious belief structures of your country people. And I like the superstitious beliefs of the country people, but this is a very particular story in that legend ethos, and it is about a Green Knight who shows up during the Christmas feast, or one of the Christmas feasts in Camelot, and he wants to challenge Arthur and his knights, and Sir Gawain takes him up on this challenge, knowing that it could, or most likely will be deadly. It is a very short book. I mean, in comparison, it is written very much in prose, as you see by all the numbers along the sides. With any luck, it will be easier to read than Le Morte d'Arthur was. I say that as someone who got about 3 pages into that book and never finished it. I imagine it will be. It's not... I don't have issues with prose in general. It just kind of reminds me of how Shakespeare wrote things, and that was easy enough. So I'll probably toss this in between whatever books I'm reading to get a quick one in, or when I'm falling behind on books. The next book is the novelization of Snow White and the Huntsman. Say what you will about anyone in that movie, or about that movie, or whatever. I liked this movie a whole heckin' lot. So I saw novelization and I was like, yoink. Novelizations, from what I've seen so far, generally just add a lot more to the story in terms of like what people are thinking, what they're feeling, little things that really can make a big difference. Also, they added an insert of like portraits, and I am really down for that. And also, like, can we all just acknowledge Chris Hemsworth as the Huntsman? Yes. Since I like the movie, I'm probably gonna like this. It's also not the longest read imaginable because they've got a lot of like between chapter pages that are highly decorated. The next 4 are all partial series books. So the first one is I picked up 2 Percy Jackson books. They are books 4 and 5 of the Percy Jackson series. For those of you who know or don't, I read the first Magnus Chase book. Loved it. Want to get more of them. Realized I like the way Rick Riordan writes. And now I need all of them. Unfortunately, these were the only 2 that they had. So I've got these. Now I just need the first 3. Now in the same vein, I also have The Throne of Fire, which is book 2 of the Egyptian mythos branch he started. Also, I just love his chapter titles. But I got book 2 of this. So hey, I only need to get 1 book before I can read this. And then I got The Son of Neptune, which I can't read until I read literally everything else. And also the book before this. Honestly, I knew it was book 2 because it says it, but I didn't realize how interconnected a lot of his books were. I still would have gotten it, so I had it. I didn't realize this was literally like the last book. And I needed to read like 6 other series first. So that is the books I got. That will keep me reading for a while. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought of them, your opinions, any warnings I should have going into them about things that might be questionable. It won't probably stop me from reading them, but I do like to have warnings like that ahead of time. So don't worry. Try not to spoil for other people, but at the same time, I don't actually care about spoilers. If you just, like, if there's a spoiler in your warning, just write it in the first thing you write and then write it. If there are any of these books that you guys want to see me do a review on, let me know so I can kind of bump that book ahead in my reading list. I think that'll do it for today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!